Everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. It's Friday, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. You made it through another week. And today, as you know, this month we're going through our tribute to the military branches, but we're going to do something a little bit different today. It's not a military branch, but we are going to be saluting the Merchant Marines. The Merchant Marines are a seagoing organization. They're professional sailors, civilians, but they have contributed so much to all of our skirmishes that we were in and wars and everything. They are basically transporters and maritime sailors, and they do cargo. They transport people. Whatever it is on the seas, they do. And they have a long history dating back well before the beginning of our country in 1776. But it is an illustrious history. And I'm sure that there are some merchant marines out there because they are all over. But, what's really interesting is that now they still have the Merchant Marine Academies here, not far from my house, and we used to camp there with the scouts once a year. It was really amazing. That's where they're trained. They used to be under the guise of the Coast Guard for training, but now they have their own academies, and I have a couple of my scouts that became Merchant Marines, sailed all around the world. It's a beautiful job if you don't get homesick. It's a really a fantastic job. You get to see a whole bunch of places, and I subscribe to a guy called Chief McCoy on YouTube, and if you ever want to see what it's like to live aboard a ship or what they do on ships, you got to check out this guy's channel. He's absolutely fantastic. I'll have a link in the description. I enjoy his channel. He's a Filipino gentleman, and he just really knows how to show you exactly what goes on during a ship as far as the engine rooms and all of them and what they do on a ship at time to time. So tribute to the Merchant Marines because they have an illustrious history in throughout the wars. And if anybody out there is a Merchant Marine or knows somebody, let us know in the comments. Really appreciate it. Okay, for today's project, a couple names are going to be thrown out here, so try and hang with me for a minute. You remember a couple weeks ago we did a gentleman, a good friend of the show by the name of Marcus from Sweden. Do you remember that he sent in the tools from his father-in-law? The father-in-law's name was Harry Henriksen, and he did a bunch of stuff from Sweden and the foods and things like that. Well, I was contacted by Harry's son, Stefan. He saw the video. He was very excited about it. And I asked him, I said, Stefan, can you please send me some more information about your dad? Because I want to hit those tools, but I always like to know a little bit about the guy who owned the tools. And he said, sure, a real nice guy. He sent me a couple fit pictures, which I asked for, and he also sent a little history about Harry. Harry was, he worked as in Finland as a steel mills and things like that. And then when he came to Sweden, he started working for Sandvik, who makes the inserts for the cutters, for lathe cutters and things like that. And he worked there, and then he retired at the age of 65. And then he lived a great life, quiet life. And then he just passed away about 5 months ago in March. And he just seemed, and it was so funny because one of the things he said, he never wanted to be a burden on his kids, and he always kind of took care of himself. And I said, boy, I really struck home when he said that, but so today we're going to hit one of Harry's tools. And I know Stefan's looking forward to this, and I'm sure Marcus too. But let me show you what we're talking about. Okay, so you remember these are just some of the tools that Marcus sent over, and from Harry's collection that he had. And as you can see here, these are a combination of Finland. Billnäs was I don't know, or is that Billnäs? I don't know how that's pronounced, but that's from Finland. There's two of those, and the Bakos, those are Swedish tools. So, it's so funny because that would, represent much of Harry's life. He was Finland and then Sweden, and they're great tools. They're good steel. And again, I always love painted tools. I told you this because tools that are painted are protected. You know what I mean? Now, I know the paint chips off and everything or whatever, and, you know, anytime I see a tool at a flea market that somebody just sprayed over, I love it, because when you get under this paint, you don't have to worry about the extreme pitting and the, you know, the deep rust. You know, it's just, you just remove the paint and you got a really nice tool underneath. Now, I've been looking forward to doing these tools. Now, I don't think I've ever done a Billnäs on the channel before, and I always loved that offset adjustable wrench. You know, adjustable wrenches usually have like a I don't know, with a 20 degrees offset, but this one always had a slightly more. You know, you could see here it's a more exaggerated offset. Now, when we talk about offset in a wrench, you know, if this wrench was straight like this and it opened up like that, that would have a 0 offset. But if you notice, all wrenches have a slight offset. Usually it's 15 degrees for open-end wrenches or something, but it all varies. You know, you can see with different wrenches, they're different offsets. And the reason they do that is in a tight area, you could flip the wrench around and you're able to engage the nut. Whereas a straight one, you know, you wouldn't be able to. Even if you flipped it around, it'd be the same thing. So that's why they put the offset in there. Now, the standard offset that we're used to, it looks similar to this. You know, it's a standard kind of offset. But I always liked the exaggerated offset of some of the Bakos and here the Finland tools. You know, they have that extended or exaggerated offset. You can see the difference here, right? So I just liked it. You know, I don't know. I'm so used to using these. I don't know about engaging. I've never used one of these before. I just like the way they look. And my buddy Ben, the tool addict, is the one of the biggest Bako collectors that, you know, one of the biggest Bako collectors in the world now, I guess. His collection is just really exploding. So he has a ton of these, and this is my first one. So I think I want to do this one today, and only because I just love the way this tool looks. Now, normally I would take this and immerse it in a paint stripper, but it is chipping a little bit. You can see how I can pull it off with my nail. So I'm going to try and run it through the coarse wire brush and see if I can't you know, get it out without doing the paint. And you can see up here it wasn't painted. See the difference? The painted area here, nice and unpainted. You see the rust starting to form. So, but let's take it. Let's wire brush it and see what we can do. And this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, here we are at our post-wire brush evaluation, and what did I tell you? What do I tell you about paint? When you see a painted tool, you grab it. Look at this. This is everywhere the paint was. Look at that finish underneath, right? It's like factory, and that's just with the wire brush. Look at that. Except, you know, of course, there's little dings and dents over here, but look at that. Look at how nice that is under the paint. Now, let me show you where there was no paint. Look at that. Where there was no paint. You see that? That's the rust we hate. So that's why I grab those painted, unpainted. Grab those painted tools. So let's take it apart and finish this up. Okay, now here we have everything was apart. Everything has been individually wire brushed. We have a functional wrench. It's not quite as smooth as I like it yet. There's still a little bind somewhere, and I don't know if it's the gears here, but we're going to take it all apart again. But the reason we put it back together is because we're going to close this wrench up, and this is like the Bakos. It's reversed. It's a left-handed wrench. You know, normally this closes it, but anyway, the reason we put it all back together now is because now we're going to hit it with the grinder, and we want to keep this looking factory, you know, so we got to grind all this so that it's even and flat. You know, you don't want to do that separately. You want it all to be, you want all the grain structure to look one way, and you know, we'll take care of all that and the back. So let's get to that now. I have a new 80 grit flap disc on here, almost new, because we have to get, this is, you know, this is stuff we got to get, and we got to be very careful. There's no, you don't want to hit this, so we're going to get this when it's even, then we'll take that nut out. Now you see we got rid of all the pits there, and that's just with the 80. And now we didn't do too close to here. Like I said, we don't want to, if you touch this knurled wheel with that flap disc, it's going to really make a mark that shows out. So don't even get close to that. But here we have it. It closes. It'll close nice. It'll look, you know, professional. And we'll take care of that. Now we got to do the other side. Okay, now we're doing the other side. And you can see here the pitting here, right? Now, the worst mistake you could possibly make is to leave pitting behind when you do some of the wrench. You know what I mean? Because some people, I don't want to go down too deep. You got a 3/4 of an inch of steel. What are you talking about? You're only going down a 32nd of an inch to get those pits out. Why would you stop now? That, if you leave that little bit, even 1 or 2 pits, that's the first thing your eyes go to on a wrench. So keep going. Just keep going. And here we are with we're almost done. Now you see here, again, everything is satined out, but we took off all the pitting, everything like that. I didn't do any polish yet, but you can see how nice and smooth this works, you know. Jaws are nice and parallel. Redid the jaws because they were all pitted, you see. The jaws are all redone. You know, the face is all redone. I can't tell you, you know, how nice this feels. But now here's the, see, now some of the purists would just say, okay, leave it the way it is. That's the way it came from the factory, which is true. You know, this is the way it probably came from the factory. Just leave it as it. But, you know, I always like to put a little color in here, especially because, you know, Harry liked the color, right? So now I'm just going to pick a color. I'm going to, acetone and clean all this out with Comet. Scrub it with Comet. And Dan Gelbart, if you've ever seen his video on that, I've showed that. But and then we'll spray it, and hopefully this will look real nice. I'm liking it so far. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what Harry's wrench looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. Now, I only have one problem with this, and that is, unfortunately, with this color blue, and this lighting down here, it doesn't show the awesomeness of this blue. It almost looks like a baby blue, but it's not. It's the blue of Finland. That's why I picked it. You know, I bought that special. But anyway, you can see here we filled in the lettering with the a darker blue, which that's actually a Sharpie. That came out pretty nice, right? We did everything over here, waxed everything. Everything's nice and clean. All the pits are gone. Everything's nice and, you know, brandy spanking new it looks, right? And this was just a great project. I'm sure Harry is up there now smiling. He's got to be. He's got to say, if he's a steel man, you know, just to feel this wrench, it just feels so beautiful. Works perfect again. And again, it's a backwards wrench for me. So that's the only problem with me is I'm so used to, you know, doing it the other way. But you can see here, these are exceptional steel. It came out really nice. Tribute to Harry. Marcus and Stefan, thanks so much for sending this wrench this way. I think it's a great tribute to him. And I'll put some pictures so you can see what the color looks like at the end of the video. So in closing, special thanks to Marcus and Stefan for sending that over. And also, you know, it's a great tribute to Harry. Thank you very much for letting me work on some of his tools. And also, again, we are saluting the Merchant Marine. So if anybody was in there served, or let me know in the comments. And thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great weekend now. Take care. Bye-bye.